Alright, timestamp. January 31st, 2026. It is 7:30 a.m. Uh, Woke up about half an hour ago, 40 minutes ago, something like that. Uncongested, but I feel great. I don't know how to. I was having some spectacular dreams, I think. I feel really good. I don't know. Not a complaint, you know. Darn it, I woke up feeling good. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I need a shower. Something awful. Because it's been a couple days. Full disclosure. And I'm not like Pigpen from, Charlie Brown, but I just feel sticky. You ever have one of those where you're like, you've been working outside all day and you get inside and you sit on the chair and you start to watch TV and you're like, no, before I do this, I kind of feel like that. And I had a really big blanket, so I think I was like, in my own little like sweat box. I definitely think I brought something home from the hospital, from the VA, and Pix too, because she was like, I thought it was the anesthesia. The first day I was like coughing up like little yellow, you know, not clear but yellow. That's usually a sign of infection. And I'm like, it's not me in the smoking. Yes, I'm working on quitting smoking, but I came home feeling crappy and I didn't have people, I didn't have a pit crew in my throat. This is where we are so far. That's the primer. That's the tabletop. I'm trying to get, because I've got primer, like a little bit white showing through the holes. I'm trying to get that worked out before I start sealing. I'm going to seal the top, and then when that's really, really dry and I can rest it on that for drying the other stuff, if you follow me. Yeah. Basically drop big old blobs of paint in the holes. Remembering a funny, awkward thing that my mom said a long time ago. I don't even remember what we were talking about, but I think it was something when I was a little kid. If there was like a hole in the wall, like in the plaster or whatnot, I would want to repair it or fill it in some way. And she was like, I don't know what it is about little boys, but they always, whenever they see something like, they always feel the need to fill holes. They've got to fill every hole. And my mom, not a dirty-minded person. I have my moments, I've done a lot of comedy, and quite honestly, comedy sometimes ends up in a dick joke. You know, a fart joke, a dick joke, they happen. And say what you want, they're crowd pleasers. We've all got the capacity for some lowbrow. And I remember her saying, little boys, they always want to fill holes. And I'm thinking to myself, because my brain's frequently in comedy mode, and I'm like, we never grow out of that. I didn't say anything, but I remember catching Pix's look, and Pix was just like, and we never spoke of it again. True story. But yeah, no, I woke up feeling just really good. And I'm not apologizing for that. Yeah, part of the not showering thing the past day or two is honestly, it's cold. I know it may sound stupid, but the idea of getting naked and whatnot in a very, very well air conditioned house on a cold day, it's like, no, I'll stay warm and sweaty right now. Thank you. And I don't have a funk going on, so I'm not too, I am not offensive. But yeah, I woke up under blanket. I went to bed Doctor Who, Roku, because Pixie went home, which is good and bad. I was able to like stretch out on the couch, not just scrunch up in one cushion. I was able to stretch out. That was killing my back and my legs, doing the scrunch thing. It was like trying to sleep in a suitcase. Which, if you ever try that, why? Well, yeah, because she owned the couch during her visit, which when she gets here permanently, which might be in the near, like, next month or two, we'll have an actual mattress bed set up and all that. And that was already the plan, but dear God in heaven, I can't do that. The 3 days or what have you was killing me. Precisely. Not exactly, but it hurt a lot. Thanks. Yeah, I was able to like stretch out. Oh my God. I think that might be part of the whole feeling great part, just because I forgot what this was, This is nice. My knees aren't in my chin currently. This is great. And I miss my girl. And also, because I do. I'm one of those husbands that actually likes his wife. It's a weird confession to make, right? But I know there are some guys out there that, and to me this is, you're clearly doing it wrong. You ask them what they like to do, spend time with their wife, whatnot, and they're like, we do stuff. And I'm like, thinking to myself, do you like this person? And if you don't like this person, what are you doing? Yeah. I mean, I know for some guys, it goes back to that childhood need to fill holes. I get it. Yeah, I went there. But yeah, no, marry your best friend. That's the best advice I can give to any little boy or little girl out there. Jinx, please stop, bud. Marry your best friend. Do yourself a favor. You know? You're okay, Jan. Nervous little chihuahua down here. I know, I was walking. Oh, no. Not that. You walked. Hey, Jinx, that doesn't actually go in the middle of the floor, man. Titanic jackass. Wash out the brush. Yeah, I put big old blobs of paint in there. I'm going to let them dry probably most of the day. Then I'll try and do a top coat on that. Doing the initial 3 and then I'll do the other 2. Okay, there's not supposed to be. The old man cat is sleeping on the counter in front of the microwave, thinking I'm not noticing him. I know you're there. I've known you there. Janus. And Jinx. No, don't. Please, please don't. Claws out of my leg. Thank you. Oh. But yeah, I'm going to work on my list. I'm going to take my shower first. Seriously, dude. Yes, I will put water in the bowl. That'll make you stop. This is always fun to watch. Watch out, Janus. Alright, you ready? Make sure I got it in there. Okay. Have you ever? For some of you that think I'm kidding about the Jinx and water thing, that's not AI, that's a real cat. Shoving its face under the pouring water. That's cold water, that's from the Brita container in the fridge. Don't know. He's always had this very, are you sure you're a cat infatuation with water. It's very strange. Very strange. And if there's not much water in the bowl, he will drag the bowl around the room if he can. And I think part of it is kind of the way Karens will, shake a glass at a restaurant full of ice to rattle to get the waiter's attention. Which, by the way, if you do that, don't do that. It's just really obnoxious. Which is why I called it a Karen behavior. And we speculate that it might be him moving the water because he likes oscillated water, like the cat version of sparkling water. I don't know. But he's 4 years old. He's done this his whole life. Don't know. He's very happily drinking. The water's still kind of... He likes to shake it up and then drink it. Don't do that with root beer, man. That'll mess your day up. I got some weird cats. Oh yeah. I broke my own rules. Not drastically. I paid $18 for this. Apparently these came out in 2009? 2011. I paid $18 for this total. They are usually like $30 and $40 because I looked and looked and looked and looked to try and find them cheaper. But I paid $18 for this. I only got the one. I'm watching another one that's like 20 and change, hoping I can get a discount or something. This is the comic book that, I don't want to say started it all for me from a comic book, like superhero standpoint, but because I don't remember specifically. I have 2 copies of that book right now. One is pretty banged up. The other one's in like 7.0 condition. It's CGC graded, slabbed. Everybody's got their holy grail comic book. Nick Cage being a Superman fan, Action Comics, that's kind of his jam. This one's mine. And it's actually my girl's too. So when she sees this, she might be like, "Hey, where's mine?" Um, that's why I'm kind of looking for a second one. But it's not a 15-ounce mug is the thing. It's probably a 12-ounce, and she only likes 15-ounce mugs. So I have a little bit of a, hey, hey, it's not one of the big ones. They didn't make it in the 15 that I can find. I did look. But Giant Size X-Men. Okay, so came out in 1975, I think. This is about when Chris Claremont, who I got to meet him 12 years ago, whatnot. He did a big signing for some shop owners in Florida, and I got to talk to him for like 10, 20 minutes. We had a great conversation, because I spoke his language, which I'll explain. But he, okay, so in the 70s, X-Men, early 70s, X-Men was a failing comic book. It had done okay, and they were actually getting ready to cancel it, if you can believe that. It was a dying comic book. Stan Lee was about to go, you know what, let's come up with some new titles, let's work on some new stuff. It's just not working out. We had a pretty good run, but meh, viewership, readership is down. Chris Claremont said, hey, let me have a go at it. And Stan Lee was like, okay, I'll see what you can do. 17 years later, Chris Claremont, this is his writing, pretty much, Giant Size X-Men #1. He introduced some new characters in this book. The 3 new characters, which, this is a pricey book. In good shape, this will cost you a couple grand. For a really good reason. Oh, 3 good reasons. 4 good reasons. 1, it's like a giant size annual book. It's a really good, it's a thick comic book. It's just a nice comic book, But the 3 other reasons is, this is the first appearance, Giant Size X-Men #1. This is the first appearance of 3 new characters, which you can see them on the cover, towards the bottom there. 3 new characters by the names of Colossus, Storm, and Nightcrawler. First time anybody ever saw them in print. This book right here. So, from the world of comic books, when you're talking about a first appearance, that's a big deal. It's considered a key book. That's what they call it, a key book. It is, a date. It's a timestamp. It's a date stamp where a character first appears in a comic book. First appearance. I know I'm really, really downing it here. But those become really pricey because fans of that character drive that price up typically. Becomes a big deal. But this is one of the first books that I really remember reading, because I was getting comic books when I was like 5, 6, 7. And I was reading a lot of Uncle Scrooge. I did have Whitman or Key Comics, the Disney comics. I have an Uncle Scrooge problem. It's true. I loved him. I don't know why. And I have some of the, like, Donald Duck and Family and stuff like that. But and I'm not even like a Donald Duck fan per se. But Uncle Scrooge, it has always been like precious to me. Weird, right? Maybe it's a Capricorn thing. But yeah, from a superhero standpoint, Giant Size X-Men, I remember reading this book as a kid. And I remember having a copy. I didn't get another copy or 2 until I was running the shop. It's kind of that whole, I know I read that when I was a kid. Why don't I have that book anymore? Where is it? Which somebody probably stole it from me. One of my friends probably borrowed it or something like that. So yeah, I saw that I was just doing a random search for like Nightcrawler. I was looking for Nightcrawler mugs because he's my favorite character. People always ask me that, especially as a shop owner. They're like, "Who are your favorite comic book characters?" From a Marvel standpoint, Nightcrawler. Big fan of Beast, Daredevil. And on the lady side of things, I really like Domino, and I really like Kitty Pryde. So yes, if you're a comic book person, as a Nightcrawler and a Kitty Pryde fan, you better believe I read a lot of Excalibur. When the mutant world went, I was getting Excalibur. Damn right. Got my Nightcrawler, got my Shadowcat, we're good. If you know what I'm talking about, cool. If you don't, read a book. But yeah, from a DC standpoint, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. And I get asked the villain character frequently too. I'm a Green Lantern fan, so Sinestro. And from a Marvel standpoint, and this one usually throws people, but I'm also a gamer. I love arcade. And people look at me like I'm freaking weird. Magneto's cool too. I mean, I'm an X-Men fan. And arcade likes to, mess with the X-Men. That dude is the worst game master ever. And it's just funny as hell to me. It is funny as hell to me. Watching him completely fall on his face. Sometimes literally. He is just a ridiculous, ridiculous character, and I love, yeah. It's true. In the broader sense, because I'm also a Daredevil fan, I love it when there's dealings with the Hand. That gets really entertaining. I know that's more an organization than a person, but some of the Daredevil Hand storylines have been very entertaining. But yeah, I remember watching the Ben Affleck film. I saw it in theaters, and hate me, love me, I don't really care. I thought they did a pretty good job. I thought they did a pretty good job of capturing a Daredevil film in the time period. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. But it was funny because I remember walking out of the theater and my girl held me back. Very much up looking at him. There was a dude walking out and he's like, "What is that, man? They made up stuff. There's nothing like that in any of the comic books ever." And I'm thinking to myself, they did a weird abbreviated version of some of the Miller run. Are you kidding me? I've read these comic books. Kinda. They changed some things, but no, that was part of a Miller storyline. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I was just like, when someone says something out loud and you actually know about the subject and you're thinking to yourself, wow, you're an idiot. You should use less words. You start having those thoughts. But yeah, my girl was like, And if you go back and watch that film, if you haven't seen it, Favreau, who is Happy Hogan in the MCU, he's Foggy Nelson in that. He's been a Marvel dork for a very, very long time. Very long time. But he plays Foggy in the Daredevil film. And then becomes Happy Hogan. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Methinks. I think it's cool. Okay, I know you. But yeah, he's one of us. Oh, yeah, I got a package too. Yeah. Go. I came in last night, but I was on my way to the couch with dreams and fantasies of stretching my legs. Curious about this one. Okay. I'm not sure if I have this one already or if I have another version. I'm going to have to look at that, but the price on this was stupid good. Oh my word! Little Patrick Troughton action there. This is apparently from the War Games. This is his War Games costume figure. And again, I may already have this one, I don't know. I know I have a Troughton, but I think the price on this was like 20 bucks total. Which I'm like, I could resell it for more than that and not even get this, which I was curious about. It is a ceramic police box coin bank. Got a rubber stopper on the bottom. Kind of old school piggy bank there. I was hoping to hear the but no, it's just the ocean. I don't see any real minting mark. I wasn't sure if this was licensed or not. You know, that kind of... Are you real? Little chip there, nothing major. It's got a handle for convenient pushing. I don't know. I mean, very clearly, the 1963 English police box would not be so big a historical icon if it were not for Doctor Who. So I can't imagine that this wasn't inspired by Doctor Who, just because no one would manufacture something like that if it weren't for. I don't know, but it was 20 bucks for the two of these in a, you know, like mixed lot of sorts of these two items. And I was just like, I want to get a look at that police box, and I could resell the figure if I already have it. And I'll also look, because if he's in better shape than the one I have, swap him out, you know. But, you know, Patrick Troughton, you can't go really wrong with that. He's got angry eyes. I've seen his costume referred to as Space Hobo, which is pretty funny and not inaccurate. His doctor was pretty fun, though. He's one I would have liked to have met. A bit of a clown, you know. Probably a very nice grandfather kind of guy. And a clown, which I respect the hell out of that. Still no holes in feet. I didn't expect it. But it makes me sad just because put holes in the feet, guys. I know it's not something you've done with your designs before, but it doesn't cause like massive structural problems. And my God, it'll make it easier for some of us out there that actually really like that feature. In the heel, just a little hole. If you're doing, like, you know, pegs on your sets and stuff like that, really, really nice, really useful. But yeah, very interesting. But I wasn't sure if I was going to see, like, you know, 72 BBC or something like that scratched in the bottom. Nothing. Which makes me think it's unofficial. Because it's just a British police box from the 60s. It's not a TV show. TV show? What are you talking about? This is just, you know, commemoration of British architecture. You could probably get away with it with that. Although if the English were really court happy, you know, in America you'd be toast. We love suing people. Yeah, from a suing people legal standpoint, they've just released another 3 million Epstein documents. And of course, mainstream media is all like, oh, well, they're definitely hiding something because this isn't all of them. And it's like, guys, come on. They've been slow walking and hiding this the whole time. This is a cabal of very, very, very wealthy, powerful people that are mentioned in these files. Yeah, they're. Come on, what do you? This is the conspiracy that everyone and no one has been talking about for decades. You hate the elites? They're in those documents. So, I'm gonna sign off here. You know the drill. Hug your parents, hug your kids. Make it a great day.